Today on the Topping Show, Vivek on climate change goes viral. GM execs push back against the UAW with full interviews on disinformation and articles. You decide who is right. Budweiser personality tweet is, oddly enough, a picture of a horse and not Dylan Mulvaney, though it is still visually ratioed on the Twitter. Russell Brand supporters don't believe the mainstream media pushing the rape charges 15 plus years later after the alleged fact. GM and Stellantis are both bringing about more layoffs due to the UAW strike. A Ford executive is angry the UK government isn't banning ICE energy drinks quick enough, apparently. Philip Morris may get out of the pharmaceutical industry. Hotels are calling on robots to fill staff jobs. Neuralink may have, or actually will have, human trials soon. And Kraft singles are being recalled due to a choking hazard. All of that and much more on The Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you can reach the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. And we've extended our fun promo of giving away a free flamethrower with every September purchase, which of course you can mount to an AR-15 like all awesome accessories can. Go to toppingtechnologies.com to learn a little bit more. Lastly, for the intro, we're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of September, so we could really appreciate it if you take the time to click that button. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Philip Morris considering abandoning the pharmaceutical business. I should say, yet again, this is one of the most diverse companies if you look at their portfolio throughout the decades. Back in the day, you've had this kind of pendulum swing between more regulation and a little less regulation with the tobacco industry. Well, years ago, this is the same company that actually bought a grocery chain, a sea transportation company, a oil company, and a myriad of other things as well. So, needless to say, this company's had this pendulum swing back and forth, and it looks like a few fiscal quarters ago, they invested in pharmaceuticals. Now they're thinking they might want to get out. Now, it looks like they want to sell their biggest stake in a specific pharmaceutical company by the name of Vectora Group, and this is according to the Wall Street Journal. And it looks like Vectora is one of 3 pharmaceutical companies that were acquired by Philip Morris in 2021 for a little over $2 billion combined. And interestingly enough, all these companies they just happen to make treatments for smoke-related respiratory diseases. Yeah, let's just let that sink in for a moment here. Kind of seems like a negative incentive you're giving yourself, because if you were to inherently make the core product less healthy, you would then profit with the other business because there would be a greater need for smoking-related respiratory disease cures. And a lot of people didn't really understand the logic behind this, and there are a lot of folks who just kind of felt a little squirrely when it comes to this being a morality, a little crossing the streams, as they might say from the Ghostbusters film. Now, it looks like, of course, the other critics would also appropriately criticize them for this incentives to PMI to increase the harm through smoking, because it might cause them to profit again through the diseases. So I'm by far no means unique in my assessment of that, but it seems like they're going to finally spin it off and sell their investment in it, which I think would make sense. If anything, if you look at the categories of smoking products and accessories, I would think they'd increase their stake in more of the vape-related categories, as that industry has exponentially increased, even with the increased rules and regulations that have kneecapped a couple of companies. Comes to mind Juul, which is the one that had the biggest lawsuit against them, and they've had to pay out hundreds of millions of dollars in settlements. But it is one of those things where it'll be interesting to see. They're getting out of the pharmaceutical company. What will Philip Morris buy next? Let's see. Maybe a car company, or a snowmobile making company. It's one of those things where that's not all too crazy to think, given their history. Granted, we'll see if they wise up and maybe kind of stick to their core competencies and things that are somewhat in the realm of their industry. But we'll see. Maybe they'll do another curveball next fiscal quarter. Time shall tell. Thank you again for taking the time to tune in. Again, I know it's ambitious, but we're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of September. So if you could click that subscribe button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, all of the comments help the channel grow and develop, and the feedback is much appreciated, whether it's critiquing how I can improve my speaking abilities, or it's suggesting new software where we can do picture-in-picture in real-time production. so we could incorporate some of these clips into the production of the show as well. All the feedback is greatly appreciated. And of course, leaving a like also helps with the algorithm and gets more people to tune into the show, and it helps out as well. Also, lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.